Hello, everyone. My name is Danny, and this is going to be my review for the movie called Overlord. It is a 2018 film. It runs 150 minutes. It uh, it's rated R, I'm pretty sure. It's directed by Julius Avery. It stars Jovan Adipo, Wyatt Russell, Palu Osbeck, Mathilde Olivier, and John Magaro. Sorry, I'm on my pad here. With only hours until D-Day, a team of American paratroopers drop into Nazi-occupied France to carry out a mission that's crucial to the invasion's success. Tasked with destroying a radio transmitter atop a fortified church, the desperate soldiers join forces with a young French villager to penetrate the walls and take down the tower. But in a mysterious Nazi lab beneath the church, the outnumbered GIs come face to face with enemies unlike any the world has ever seen. From producer J.J. Abrams, Overlord is a thrilling, pulse-pounding action-adventure with a twist. So, the first thing I'm going to say, since that's the first time I've actually read that paragraph, this isn't like anything ever seen on Earth. In this movie, yes, it's very out of place for something to happen, and but for real Earth, this has very much been seen. The other night, I watched Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. And I was just thinking of that and Resident Evil the whole time I was watching this movie. Once the stuff hits the fan, the characters and the things that come out of Overlord look like exactly the things coming out of Resident Evil. I'd have to say that Resident Evil is scarier. It's more detailed on their creatures. They're more invincible. Overlord, basically, if you shoot them in the head, you stomp on their head a couple times, or if you set them on fire, that's about it. And Resident Evil it's harder to kill any creature at all. So, I mean, I've been a huge committed fan to Resident Evil, and to see somebody try and copy them was a little bit distasteful. So, as much as I enjoyed Overlord and their creatures, and it was effective for what they were trying to do and the storyline that took place, I just kind of feel like, it tried to be unique story, and it just wasn't, because we've seen so many different facets of Overlord before. And the other thing that I would love to compare it to is Inglourious Bastards, because I, for one, am not big on war movies, and I didn't know if I would go see this weekend because I knew it was about war, and it ended up being more about that than I thought it would be. And I mean, it could have had creatures overrunning, it could have had creatures following people outside, and kind of the pandemic, following, more than just this one little area underground. And it didn't want to explore that route, but I just was like, the war part of it, the brutality and everything, the way that people interacted with each other and did what they had to do, just reminded me of Inglourious Bastards, and that's one of the few like war movies I would actually enjoy because of the level of brutality that it has. I can't just sit through, like, some of these movies that just are about the war and about people sitting around and talking and having a couple of bullets fly through the air and being in the foxhole half the time. And I can't take those kind of movies. So you have to add something into it to make it interesting for me and a lot of people my age, to be honest. So I guess I've been kind of leaning towards like saying that this is more like other movies than I ever would have thought. But when I was sitting in it, the characters are so wonderful. They have a couple of younger people in here, and they add so much to this movie, like another layer that just I'm sure nobody saw coming. We were able to laugh a little bit. The other people in my theater and we were able to laugh at this movie a couple times, so it keeps it light, it keeps it enjoyable, and the characters are just beyond measure. I mean, like they're truly interesting people, and we get to know them by their last names, and we get to know about how they would react to normal everyday situations, and just how they would react to a child, and how they'd react to killing people even though they're in the army is very, very interesting stuff. So by no means is this movie bad. It's just like a lot of others before it in certain way, or in one certain way, or in its entire way of thinking about creatures. So as much as I enjoyed it, and as much as it compared to other things, the camera work was good. All the action was good. A couple of the things were a little over the top, kind of crazy. We see a couple punches thrown that look like they're completely whiffed, fake punches. There's a couple of creature, common sense questions that somebody could come up with, and I'd love to have answers to. It gets a little confusing that way. So I really don't feel like ripping it apart anymore. I felt like I've said all the good things. I just had a great time with Overlord. I would watch it again. I like these kind of movies. I think the ending was good, and it has some conclusion. It is a war movie, so it has to stay true to history and say that there was more left to do and everything. So I wasn't totally disappointed by the ending. Some people might be, but the characters just make this a really good ride, and it's not boring hardly at all. Keeps it moving, and all these judgment calls that it has for the characters, and the way that it lets us get to know the characters are just beyond belief, and I thought was completely impressive. And with it being fun, with it being a little bit of a otherworldly kind of thing, I thought this whole movie is put together very well. And when I see it again, I'll probably think more of it just as itself. And that'll be great. That'll be another reason to see it again. And it's just really entertaining. So I'm going to give a B plus to Overlord. I hope some people are going to see it. It has some crazy competition this week with The Grinch, 10th version of that. And the fourth girl with the dragon tattoo. I've seen all of those other ones, but I just didn't feel called to see this next one. And I don't own any of the other girl with the dragon tattoo movies. So Overlord really drew my eye and told me that it was going to be something different. And I am not disappointed by going and choosing it as my movie of the week to go see. So I hope some of you give it a chance. Some of you look it up in the future. The actors are great. Everything was done really well. And I just have to compare it to some other things because it compares to other things. It's just that kind of a movie. So thanks a lot, guys. B plus for Overlord. Give it a chance. My name's Danny. If you like this or any of my other videos, try and give some of them a watch. Like and subscribe to my channel if you would. And enjoy your movies. Thanks.